All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to a special episode of Inspiring Educators with your host, Brian from the Philippines. And now I'm here with wonderful educators from around the world. And I'm here to ask them what have they learned in this TESL Expo that we're currently having right now. So let me call on the chairman of the board. Let's call Mr. Red Luis Elasio. Sir, I would like to know, what have you learned in this TESL Expo?
Actually, Sir Brian, I learned a lot from this expo that we're having. But to be specific, I am very happy that I gained, new applications that I may use in teaching for my students. So that's it, sir.
What a very short answer, but full of ideas. Thank you so much, dear Chairman Elasio. Let's have my co-host, Ms. Den Felipe. I would like to know, ma'am, what have you learned in this TESL Expo?
Just like Sir Red, I've learned a lot actually because we have a lot of topic. But I also learned a lot of applications to use, such as podcasts, Anchor. I might download it later, just to listen to you, and also how to plan lesson plan and how to teach literature during these times, and how to teach grammar using various platforms. Actually, I have a lot to say, but I can't. I'm so overwhelmed. I can't enumerate it one by one.
Thank you so much, partner, Ms. Dan Felipe. And now, on my screen, I can see here Teacher Alice. Teacher Alice, you still here? Hi, Teacher Alice. So, I would like to know, have you gained some infos from us? What have you learned from this very wonderful TESL Expo?
Yes, of course. As I always, and as I remember once I mentioned also in my interview, that from teaching we learn and from learning we teach. I think it doesn't matter what kind of webinar is, and we are teachers, we can just think that we are professionals, but no. Every time, even from our students, we just learn something new. And from this seminar, from this webinar, I just learned a lot of things, not only concerning about the language acquisition, but also about the tools, techniques, everything. Thank you, all of you. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Fantastic. I love that things that Teacher Alice has gave to us. And now let's call my IELTS teammate, Sir Russell. Are you still here?
Yes, I'm still here, but I can't open my camera.
No worries, sir. What we wanted is your lovely boy. So, sir, what are the things that you have learned from this TESL Expo?
Actually, the thing I have learned most especially is how I will teach literature at the midst of pandemic, and very interesting with our different platforms and how I will practice those platforms in my teaching pedagogy. That's what I'm thinking now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sir Russell. Now, like what I mentioned, I'm randomly calling. Let me call my student, okay? Because I saw this pink S here. Shamira Jafar, a student of the Laguna State Polytechnic University. Shamira, what have you learned in this TESL Expo?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Brian. I learned very this webinar is very helpful for me as a future educator, and I really thank everyone and each and every educators here because I learned a lot about how students learn, especially during this pandemic, and the learning acquisition, especially what Mr. Russell discussed last a while ago about the emotional stress that both students actually and teachers experience. So that's it.
Thank you very much, Miss Jafar. Now, let's have a look onto the second page. So, like I've said, I'm randomly calling. Be ready. Okay, let me call Ms. Lady Lee Tauro. Miss Lady Lee, you're still here, ma'am? Hi, good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, I would just like to ask, what are your key takeaways in this TESL Expo?
Actually, I learned a lot from our webinar today. I like the presentation of different platforms that could be used to make my students more engaged in our in learning process. That's it.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lady Lee Taro. Okay, and let's go at the last page. Let's have Ms. Marjorie Tordell. Teacher Marge, are you still here?
Yes, sir.
Hi, good afternoon, teacher. I would like to ask, what have you learned in our TESL Expo, ma'am?
Actually, sir, all of the topics are very timely. I learned a lot, most especially the platforms to be using online teaching. So teachers nowadays that we are now are work from home teachers that can still apply for an extra job, just like an ESL teachers. Like the other speakers shared to us the techniques, the ideas, their experiences teaching the foreigner students, and their experiences are, of course, very timely. Especially we are now in pandemic, and online teaching is very popular. That's all, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Teacher March. Now let's go internationally. Okay, or international, sorry. Let's have Teacher Min. Hi, Teacher Min.
Hi, Teacher Brian.
Hi, Teacher Min. You've been here for a very long time. I would like to know, what are the key takeaways you got from our TESL Expo?
Yeah, I have learned a lot from you, and then I have new ideas, and I met a lot of global educators, and I learned from a lot their knowledges and their teaching methodology systems. Yes, and then I met so many friends around the world, teachers like my family. Yeah, thank you, teacher.
Thank you very much, Teacher Min. And also, let's call Ms. Mona from Lebanon. Ms. Mona?
Hello. First, thank you for such informative webinar. I really like all the interesting information with the way that you started by getting the knowledge, speaking about it, and the writing, and all the techniques that you have offered. I like them, and I'm going to use them later on with my students. Indeed, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Mona. So, this podcast is really impromptu, dear listeners, because why I've asked this question is to assure that all the participants are listening. But then, I'm just curious because each and every one of us are authentic person. Each and everyone will have their own learning. And from one learning, we create bigger ideas. And with that, I'll be closing or ending up this podcast episode. And I hope that once I publish this, all the guests here, all the participants will tune in to my podcast, Inspiring Educators. So long, and all my listeners, I love you all. Thank you.